And welcome once again, travelers on the starship planet Earth, to the Captain Fizz
10th episode
and Mask Guy podcast. And yes, I am, of course, that Mask Guy, and along here with my cohort,
Captain Fizz.
Captain Fizz. And how are you doing, Captain?
I am doing phenomenal.
Awesome. I'm
It's
glad
been
to see
a wonderful week.
A wonderful week, and I'm glad to see that the cat is not in the studio
The cat is not in the studio today. The cat was a joke last epised.
Well, you tell her that. I mean, I'm still scratching because of her.
Well,
we seriously need to talk to the cleaning service about cleaning up a little bit better, because there's still a lot of cat hair around here.
yeah, no, it takes a week for cat hair to go away. Still hasn't gone away.
So this is going to be, I think, slightly
shorter,
slightly different episode.
Yeah, we're going to talk about us and where we're going and what we're the future.
Yeah, the future.
The future of the Captain Fizz and Mask Guy podcast.
Exactly, because this is episode 10.
This is episode 10. This is a big milestone for us.
It is. And so, as you've noticed from our last episode, we actually managed to stay on one subject pretty well, which was DC.
That was probably our first time ever that we've been able to stay on one subject.
Well, not the first time. The only other time that we've ever been successful with that is when we talked about the last WWE pay-per-view.
Right, yeah. No, that was
the Bank, I believe it was.
Yeah, that was the exception, which, Big Mike was on that show.
Big Mike.
And Big Mike has signed on with us to appear on every single wrestling pay-per-view event. He's going to appear on with us afterwards.
Well, as long as he is available.
As long as he's available. If he's available, he'll be on with us, so that's a huge signing for us.
Yeah, it's huge. Absolutely. Mike's he's been a friend of mine for a really long time. We're talking more years in my life that I've known him than I haven't. So
yeah, he's a very knowledgeable person. He's a great addition to our team for wrestling pay-per-views.
And so, I guess this is part of the reason, what we're talking about today is the fact that we want to kind of give you guys kind of an idea of where we're going to try to go forward with the podcast.
Yeah, our future.
And so, in the future, we have brought up a few times in the past that we want to have some guests on. On their episode, which I believe will be airing on July 24th.
July 24th?
We'll just give you guys a heads up now. We will be bringing in someone to talk about Doctor Who with us.
Yeah, so it'll be a whole episode on just Doctor Who.
On Doctor Who.
Which, is wow.
Well, I know you've been starting to watch, the new Doctor Who.
Yeah, the new Doctor Who. I've been binge watching.
You've been binge watching. I haven't for a while, but I was actually watching some of the classic stuff. But you're currently on the David Tennant.
The David Tennant. I've only done the first episode of David Tennant, and I'm in love with David Tennant.
David Tennant, who is more accurately Doctor number 11. And when you told me that you were now on his episodes, I referred to him as the Doctor who does not give second chances.
Yes.
Which is very much the truth. He actually kind of refers to himself as that in his first episode, when he is fighting an alien.
Yeah, and the alien goes to attack him after Mercy, and he knocks him off.
So, to his doom.
That's going to be an exciting episode. So, July 24th, we're going to have a special guest all about Doctor Who. This is a Doctor Who fanatic. I think this guy has, anything possible Doctor Who.
Yes.
So it's going to be huge.
And we also, I'm in talks with someone who I know relatively well. He is very big into Dungeons and Dragons. He's actually been trying to get me to play the game with him. I have never played Dungeons and Dragons.
We may have to play a game of Dungeons and Dragons before that episode, so at least we know how lame we are.
Yes, I think we might have to do that. I may have to actually set up, a day and just say, hey, see if he'd be willing to go off into spend an evening or a couple of hours with us to play some Dungeons and Dragons, just so we have a better idea of what we're talking about.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a special podcast on Dungeons and Dragons eventually as well.
And of course, as we mentioned before, our friend Big Mike will be coming in, and he will be helping us to review almost every WWE pay-per-view, as long as he's available. There will be a few exceptions. He has a friend that he goes off and he sees out of town.
Yeah, who will try to appear on our show in October.
For
a special Halloween episode.
A friend of mine by the name of Derek Inman, who I affectionately refer to as Sweet Daddy D.
And I refer to as Nope.
But again, a guy who I've known for a very long time, and who considers himself to be a bit of a horror, aficionado. And honestly, if I remember correctly, he's pretty much said that he hasn't really enjoyed any horror movies that have come out since, I believe, 1992 or something like that.
Yeah. So Derek, if you're listening, on that special podcast, I am going to be making a horror quiz of movies and times, and you are going to take the test.
And see,
we're going to give you the plunge.
That'll be really interesting. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not much of a horror fan. I've seen a couple of... I've seen a few of the Child's Play movies. I've seen a few of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and a few of the... Friday the 13th movies.
Then you stuck with the classics and you're okay.
But I mean, that's kind of ages ago. And I've seen a couple of other, horror movies over the years, just because I've went off and had to endure them while visiting Derek and his family. Because I swear before, he went off and, learn, be potty trained, he was watching horror movies.
Yeah. So we got that to look forward to in October. So we got Doctor Who, we've got wrestling, we got the horror. I have convinced a buddy of mine to join us for UFC events. It won't be every UFC event because obviously there's a whole bunch. It'll be really key ones.
I just would be kind of interesting to just get someone's point of view on where the UFC is right now. I remember watching some of the original UFC events back before they came up with a lot of the rules and weight classes that they have now. Back when there was people like Ken Shamrock and the Gracies and Dan the Beast Severns and Tank Abbott were some of the names I actually can remember. And it was really interesting to watch back then because you could see a big sumo wrestler take on, a little judo.
Yeah. No, it's a very unique age now, so that'll be unique. So we've definitely got all that. I'm trying to hook up somebody to help review The Walking Dead when that comes out in the fall. An extra, special person for that one.
And we have... We brought his name up a couple times. Our friend Andy Johnson, who we just found out this week that he is possibly
he is home and feeling better.
Yes, I haven't actually really talked to him this week, so I'm not sure. Last I heard, he was still in the hospital, so he's at home now?
He is home now. He's doing better. He's happy. He's happy to be home.
Okay, so I kind of feel bad because I didn't know all this. I don't know. It's been a crazy week.
It has been a crazy week.
It has really been a crazy week.
It's been the fastest week I've ever known.
But reason why I bring him up is we will be bringing him in to possibly do a 2-part episode where we'll actually air 2 episodes in a week where we'll be talking about the fall preview, because there'll be a lot of stuff we're going to really want to talk about. I may actually have to go back and try to catch up on shows like The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And I may have to...
a lot of shows coming out in the fall that, it's going to be action-packed.
And so, I mean, a lot of the comic book shows that you and I enjoy, Andy really enjoys, and so I really think that he would be really huge to go off into do this.
He'll be pretty much a very active partner in the fall. So that'll be a very unique thing. He loves to talk. He loves to talk about this, especially I believe Arrow is one of his favorite ones.
Well, particularly when with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he would go off and he would start sending me text messages and messages on Facebook on Wednesday mornings to say, hey, have you seen last night's episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet? And I'm like, no, I haven't yet. Because I went off and would record it. And so by the time I saw him on Wednesday evenings, I'd be, oh my God, and we'd sit there and we'd talk about for a couple minutes, and everyone around us would just give us these weird looks because no one else, amongst our friends really, watched the show.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's become part of my job now, so that kind of sucks. I have to be unbiased.
Well, you can still be biased.
Okay, I'm biased as I watch. I can't be biased and pick and choose what I watch. I have to, watch them all now because otherwise I look like an idiot.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be. It'll be really an interesting show.
It'll be so. Yeah, basically the fall we're gonna have lots of special guests. It's gonna be awesome. But speaking of looking like an idiot, we are in the process of finding a cameraman to allow us to have video shows. So instead of just hearing our voice, you will see our pretty face and mask.
So pretty much what that would entitle is we would continue putting our podcast out on Spreaker, a couple times a week, but we would actually be recording, in video as well. And instead of going off and putting our audio podcast onto YouTube, we'd actually just put video.
Yeah, so instead. It's going to be a very unique adventure into what we're doing. You get to see actually our studio, which is not much a studio.
It's not much of a studio. Again, I think we seriously need to fire the cleaning crew.
I think we're going to fire the cleaning crew.
I think we're going to have to fire the cleaning crew because it's pretty bad. But, I mean, we're in the midst of a couple of things, doing a couple of things. We are going to try to come up with a bit of a better look for the show. So we're going to have to see if we can find some sort of desk.
Yeah, we're also in the process of designing a logo.
And we're still looking for a jingle.
We're looking for jingles.
Honestly, I could come out every week and sing that ridiculous little jingle that I
would rip my ears out.
Probably. And me, I was kind of humming it to myself and realized it sort of reminds me a little bit of the Itchy and Scratchy show.
Speaking of the Itchy and Scratchy show. No, speaking of The Simpsons, which has the Itchy and Scratchy show. Burns is back.
Yes, the voice actor that has done all the characters.
Harry Shriver.
Harry Shriver, I believe.
And it's taken us a week to know this.
Well, no, see, I knew he actually was leaving. His contract had expired. And I believe it's at the end of this season would be, his last. And he has said he had, at that point, that he had not re-signed because the producers of the show were trying to limit other appearances that he would make outside of the show, like other working gigs. And so if they weren't going to allow him to go off and work on these other projects, he wasn't going to resign.
Yeah.
And it would be huge because, yes, it would have been Mr. Burns and...
half the town.
Well, not so much, but it was Smithers, it was Burns, it was Principal Skinner, and it was Flanders. I mean, those were like the four big ones.
We could lose them. We could lose Flanders.
I don't know. I mean, I think... you have Flanders, who's almost the perfect neighbor.
To all those that were that are freaking out that if Harry Shriver didn't re-sign, that we'd lose his characters. It was already announced a long time ago that they were going to find replacements for them anyways, and none of them would leave.
Okay, because I mean,